Myself Amit Upadhyay, and I'm back with your favorite subject English. So today we are going to start our fresh lesson and unit, that is social issues. So what are social issues here? There are water supply halted in your area. So what is it? Is it a social issue? Yes, it is a social issue. There are in your society something bad is happening. So is it a social issue? Yes, it is a social issue. So what is a social issue? Social issue is nothing but anything which impacts the whole society. So who are the members of the society? We human beings are the member of the society. So any matter which is not only related to a single person but which is related to the whole group of people, such issues are known as social issues. So here the saying that has been given here, home is the happiest place in the world. Do you agree or not? Whenever you leave from your school, what is that place where you want to go? That is your home. Whenever your father must be leaving the office, what is that place where he wants to visit first? That is nothing but the home. So obviously the home is the safest and the happiest place on the earth, because we do not feel any kind of fear at home. We feel relaxed. There are everything available which is required for our survival, for our happiness, for our entertainment. So the home is the happiest place on the earth, we can say. So the question says that, what does the sentence mean? So sentence means that there is no other place as safe as home. There is no other place as comfortable as home. Every person feels relaxed and relieved from the tensions at the place which is known as home. So in short, we can say that the home is the happiest place on the earth. The next question says that, do you agree, disagree with the view expressed in the saying? Why? So it's very obvious, and we strongly agree that this is the correct statement, because when we reach home, we have every facility which is we require for our survival. We have food there, we have shelter there, we have someone to help us, we have someone to take care of us over there. So of course this is the happiest place, because if you go to any other place, you have to struggle to get food, you have to struggle to find space to sleep. But at home, everything is available without charging any extra cost, and you feel like that is our known world to us. So that is why it is the phrase that has been given, it is absolutely correct. Do you like your home? Why? Everyone loves their home, because we have our parents living there who are there to protect us every time. Whenever you need something, you can simply ask your mother and father. Won't you go to your neighbors, right? Suppose if you want anything, for example, a new shoe, a new cloth. So will you go to your neighbors and say that, uncle, please buy me a pair of new shoes? Will he, or otherwise, will he buy it for you? No. So that's what. Every person loves his or her home, because that is the place we have been grown up, and that is only the place we have spent the most of the time of our life. So we get attached to it. That is why we love our home. Now let's go to the first lesson of our unit 2, social issues, that is Oliver Asks for More. It has been taken from the novel Oliver's Twist, written by Charles Dickens. Let us start the reading part. Here we go. This is an extract from the novel Oliver Twist. So, taken from Oliver Twist, written by Charles Dickens. So now, he was the British novelist, and it is the story of an orphan boy named Oliver who is brought to a children's home. So, orphan. An orphan means a child who doesn't have his or her parents. It is known as orphan. So, he has been brought to a children's home, that is orphanage. Let's start. Mr. Bumble walked on with long strides, little Oliver, firmly grasping his gold-laced cuff, trotted beside him. Oliver had not been within the walls of the workhouse a quarter of an hour when Mr. Bumble informed him that the board had said he was to appear before it forthwith. So, Mr. Bumble, on with long stride, little Oliver firmly grasping his gold-laced cuff and trotted beside him. So, Oliver was standing beside whom? Mr. Bumble. Mr. Bumble walked into the office and he was a member of the church. And the Oliver has been told that he was new into that, and he was being told that he should be present in front of the church people, the board of the committee of the church. Now, not having a very clearly defined notion of what a live board was, Oliver was rather astonished by this information and was not quite certain whether he ought to laugh or cry. He had no time to think about that matter. Mr. Bumble asked Oliver to follow him into the large whitewashed room where 8 or 10 fat gentlemen were sitting round a table. Now, Oliver was confused. He didn't know where he should laugh or what type of emotion he should show. He didn't know what kind of meeting he is going to have. So he was just following Mr. Bumble, and he went to a whitewashed large room where almost 10 fat members were sitting. So what happens? At the top of the table, seated in an armchair rather higher than the rest, was a particularly fat gentleman with a very round and red face. So in the center of the table, there was a high chair where one person was standing who had a red face and round face, and he was a fat guy, and he was sitting in middle on the higher chair, so that meant that he was the higher authority of that place. "Bow the board," said the Bumble. Oliver brushed away 2 or 3 tears that were lingering in his eyes, and seeing no board but the table, bowed to that. "What's your name, boy?" said the gentleman in the high chair. So, bow the board means they were just bowing down to show respect to the board, and now the Oliver was having tears in his eyes, but he immediately wipes them off, and now the gentleman who was sitting on the high chair, he asks to Oliver that, "What is your name, boy?" So Oliver was frightened. Frightened means afraid at the sight of so many gentlemen, which made him tremble. The beadle gave him a tap on his back with his cane, which made him cry. So here the beadle means who was the member of the board of the church, and he was having a stick with him. So he has bitten Oliver with his stick, and Oliver started crying because it hurt him. So, "Boy," said the gentleman in the high chair, "listen to me. You know you are an orphan. I suppose. So now the gentleman says that, boy, you are an orphan, means you know that you don't have your mother, father, you don't have your parents alive. So, what is that, sir? Inquired the poor Oliver. So, the little child didn't even know that what is an orphan. He didn't know where his mother, father were. So, he asks so innocently that, what is that, sir? I don't know what is that orphan mean. The boy is a fool. I thought he was, said the gentleman in the white waistcoat. So the person who was sitting in a white waistcoat, he said that, the boy is fool, I thought he was. So they try to make fun of him that the boy looks fool, he doesn't know whether that word orphan means. Shh, said the gentleman who had spoken first. You know you have got no father or mother, and that you were brought up by parish, weren't you? So the person who tells that, who asks the Oliver that you are an orphan, he tells everyone to be quiet, and he tells him that, boy, you don't have your mother and father, and you have been brought up by the church committee, that is parish. Parish means church committee. Yes, sir, replied Oliver, weeping bitterly. So he was crying because he was being bitten by the stick of the gentleman. And while crying, he says that, yes, sir. What are you crying for? Inquired the gentleman in the white waistcoat. The person who was sitting in the white waistcoat, he was wondered that why Oliver was crying. He couldn't realize that he was hurt, he was afraid being present in between 10 fat people. So now, here, he says that, I hope you say your prayers every night, said another gentleman in gruff voice, and pray for the people who feed you and take care of you like a Christian. So now another gentleman says in the gruff voice that, I hope you do prayers for every night, because we people feed you, we people give food to you. So you should pray for us like a Christian. So the boy stammered and said, yes, stammering means saying in a breaking voice. Yes, in this manner, this is called stammering. So, well, you have come here to be educated and taught a useful trade, said the red-faced gentleman in high chair. The person who was having a red face and he seemed to be the higher authority, he said that you have come here to be educated and for a useful trade. So you will begin to pick up oakum tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock, added the surely one in the white waistcoat. So here they have given him a work to prepare oakum at 6 o'clock. What is oakum? Oakum is a soup which is made of oats, rice, etc. So he has been told to prepare that. Now Oliver bowed low, directed by the beadle, and was then hurried away to a large ward where on a rough hard bed he sobbed himself to sleep. Now he greets them by bowing in front of them, and he just ran to his rough bed where he used to sleep, and he was keeping his head inside his hands and he was crying, and while crying when he slept he didn't know. So this was happened with the poor boy on that day. Then poor Oliver, as he lay sleeping unconscious of everything around him, the board had taken a decision that would change the course of his life. So now the story up to here tells that the Oliver was the orphan and he was being taken care and he was being fed by the church committee, and now the church committee has decided something for Oliver that was going to change Oliver's whole life. So what might be the decision of the church committee? That decision might have been the decision of sending Oliver to the children's home. Now, the members of this board were very wise and philosophical men. As they turned their attention to the workhouse, they discovered that it was the regular place of public entertainment for the poorer classes. It was the place where they had breakfast, dinner, tea, supper all the year round and free, where it was all play and no work. This was really a shocking state of affairs. They were of opinion that the poor should be given only two alternatives, either to starve quickly outside the workhouse or gradually inside the house. With this view, they decided that the inmates of the workhouse would be issued 3 meals of thin gruel a day with an onion twice a week. So here, the people of the church was considered to be the wise and philosophical men. So they have seen that in the workhouse, the regular place of people, it was the place of entertainment for the poorer people, and the people, it was the place the people had the breakfast, dinner, tea and supper all the year around and for free. So they thought that without doing any work, they are getting a lot of food and a lot of entertainment over there. So we should stop it, they decided, and they declared that the only inmates of the workhouse should give 3 meals, and which is made up of thin gruel a day and onion twice a week. So they will be given food only twice a week, that is 2 times in 7 days. For the first 6 months after Oliver Twist was moved in, the system was in full operation. As a result, during the period, the number of workhouse inmates got smaller and the inmates themselves shrank in size and became thinner. So this initiative has been taken to move inmates away from the workhouse, and that's how the number of inmates have decreased. And although the inmates who were living within the workhouse, they became thin due to low quality of food they were getting. So here, the room in which the boys were fed was a large stone hall with a big copper ball at the one end, out of which the master, dressed in an apron for the purpose and assisted by 1 or 2 women, ladled the gruel at the meal time. Of this festival composition, each boy had 1 basinful, no more, except on occasions of great public rejoicing, when he had 2 ounces and a quarter of bread besides. So now, what is the situation where what is the scene where the boys were fed? There was a big stone hall, and a copper bowl was kept at the one end, where the person who was cooking for the boys and who was serving them was sitting wearing an apron, and he was assisted by 2 women. So he was having a ladle. Ladle is a big spoon used for serving, and he was cooking the gruel. Gruel was nothing but the soup or a liquid made up of the oats or rice. So he was serving them, but each boy had 1 basin, and he can only have a 1 basin full, that is 1 bowl filled with the gruel at a time, not more than that. If otherwise, it is a great occasion of the public festival. So now, the basins never wanted washing. The boys polished them with their spoons till they shone again. When they had performed this operation, they would sit staring at the copper bowl with such eager eyes as if they could have devoured the big bowl itself and everything in it. At the same time, they sucked their fingers most carefully, catch up any stray splashes of gruel that might have stuck thereon. Boys have generally excelled appetite. Oliver Twist and his companions suffered the tortures of a slow starvation of 3 months. So now what was the condition? The gruel that they used to receive, the food they used to receive, they used to eat and wipe all the food from that utensil that it never wanted washing, because they were so hungry that they finish off even a single part of the food. So now they, after finishing their gruel, they used to look at the copper bowl that was situated in that big hall, as if they want more and more food, and they will finish that whole bowl within itself. So that was the torture the all boys were facing into that workhouse, and from the last 3 weeks they were becoming thinner and thinner, and they have been tortured by the people with the starvation. So now what was happening? Oliver Twist and his companions suffered the tortures of a slow starvation for 3 months. At last they got up voracious and wild with hunger. That one boy, who was tall for his age and had not been used to that sort of thing, for his father had kept a small cook shop, hinted darkly to his companion that unless he had another basin of gruel per day, he was afraid he might some night happen to eat the boy who slept next to him. So now their hunger has been reaching to the uncontrolled level, and now the boy who was one among them and who was a little taller, he started telling to his companion boys that if I will not get more gruel to eat apart from that one bowl, perhaps he might eat the boy who sleeps beside him. That was the condition. People might not have noticed the hunger's limit. When the hunger reaches the limit, the human or any other animal can do anything to satisfy their hunger, and that was the situation, that the boys were not properly fed. So that was the limit of the torture, and now the taller boy says to them, he warns to the other children, that other boys, that if they will not be receiving more food than the usual, perhaps there is chance that he will eat the boy who sleeps beside him. So yeah, he said that he was afraid that he might some night happen to eat the boy who slept next to him, who happened to be a weakly youth of tender age. He had a wild, hungry eye, and they believed him. A council was held, lots were cast as to who should walk up to the master after supper that evening and ask for more, and it fell in to Oliver Twist. So now everybody was afraid that what if he really does that? What if he really eats the other boy? So they believed him because the words were so true that they can see the hunger in his eyes. So they decided, and they had meeting, and they were deciding that who should meet the master to ask for more food. So at the last, the thing comes to Oliver. Now the evening arrived, the boys took their place. The master, in his cook's uniform, stationed himself at the copper. His assistants ranged themselves behind him. The gruel was served out. The gruel disappeared. The boys whispered to each other and winked at Oliver, while his next neighbors nudged him. So, child as he was desperate with hunger and reckless with misery. He rose from the table, and advancing to the master, basin and spoon in hand, said, somewhat alarmed at his own courage, "Please, sir, I want some more." So the another day was there, and the master was serving the gruel, and the gruel was finished in no time because everybody was so hungry that they has grasped the whole food with no time. Now it was the time when Oliver was being told to go to master, and the boys nudged him that go and ask for more. So somehow he goes to master trembling, and he was afraid, but somehow he got courage and he asks that, "Please sir, I want some more." The master was fat, healthy man, but he turned very pale. He gazed in stupefied astonishment on the small rebel for some seconds, and then clanged for support to the copper. As the assistants were paralyzed with wonder, the boys with fear. "What?" said the master at length in a faint voice. "What?" like that. So the master was angry, and he was stupefied, means he was shocked that how dare him that he has asked for one more bowl of gruel, because such thing has not ever done by any of the boys in the past. So how this Oliver got guts to ask for more gruel, to ask for more food? So that happened, and he tells him in the faint voice, in the heavy voice, that, "What?" "Please sir," replied Oliver, "I want some more." The master aimed a blow at Oliver's head with the ladle and shrieked aloud for the beadle. So now what the master did? The master hit the Oliver's head with the ladle. Ladle is nothing but the big spoon we used for serving the liquids. So he has hit on the Oliver's head with the ladle, and he came out shouting for the beadle. Beadle is nothing but the member of the church board. Now what is happening here? So here give me a minute please. Sittings, Holman, Wheating and Oliver Twist. Please sir, okay. So next part of this lesson we will be seeing in our next class. Till then, I hope you have gone through the lesson up to here, and we will see what happens with Oliver in the next part of our class. Till then, goodbye.